So hi guys, welcome to Eddie Stobart. The next pack has just dropped. I will be honest with you, one of the issues looks quite potentially complicated, so I've decided to split this pack into two videos. So this is issue 95, the right chassis beam, and 96, the chassis beam extensions.
I've pounded the road from coast to coast, Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun, without Yorkie to help me along.
So let's begin with issue 95, and if you think this looks familiar, that's because it does actually look exactly the same as the last issue, but we'll go with it anyway. So this is the right chassis. My camera's a little bit off, bear with me. There's a bit on the there. You see in the top I've got last week's piece. That's because I will need that later on, but this is 95-1 right chassis beam for trailer part 1, and then we have right chassis beam holder, sorry, right chassis beam for trailer part 2, and I'm trying to orientate these the same way as the magazine. We have got 3 front left spring holder, and we have the dual leaf spring holder piece 4, and the piece 5 rear leaf spring holder, and then we've got 12 DD03 screws, 2.3 by 4mm PM screws. So what we'll do is we will get those out already, because we know we will need them, all bar one. So pretty much exactly the same as last issue. Now I do believe I got in a slight muddle in that I got the pieces around the wrong way, but we do have the advantage, although this is going to be a mirror image, we know it will look like this. So what we will do is we'll take pieces 1 and 2 and we'll check the orientation of the magazine. So it's saying that there's an R there, so we know that that's on the right, and I can see that there's a notch there, and there's 4 notches in total, and this tab is lower, and this one has an R on it, and there's the R. So we want this to be orientated this way, so the notches all line up. And then what's going to happen is this is not going, there we go, so this is going to go in like so, and you'll see you've got 4 holes there, 4 holes there, 4 there, and they will just go in like so. They don't want to be, they do want to fit, they do want to fit. Right, so what we'll do is we will assemble those with 4 screws there, and then in the next step we will turn that over. But what I'm going to do is just pop the first one in, as I always do, just enough to bite. Then the second one, which I choose to go diagonally opposite, as you can see there, and then that should just start to hold the piece in place. And the third one can go in. You might want to put some oil on these screws, it's up to you. I'm managing quite well without. And then the 4th screw can go in, and this one can go in all the way, and these can go in quite tight because it is metal. And then I'm going to work my way backwards, and there we go, and just make sure they're all in nice and tight. Now one of the things I do love about the part works, I say this time and time again, I reckon that joint there is enough to hold this. Look, there's plenty of strength there, but no, they want to go one further, and they want us to pop the 4 screws in there. So you know, they wouldn't have to put all 8 in, but you know, 8 is obviously going to make sure it's really, really strong. So that one can go in just enough to bite. In fact, it can go in a little bit more if you want. and then this one can go in a bit. Remember that each screw that you put in, I'm just going to move it to one side, each one that you put in is just going to pull those two pieces together a little bit more, not as much as the first screws. There we go, that's in. And then the last one can go in fully, and I've got a cat just jumping up on my lap. I know which one it is because her claws are sharp. There we go, that's in fully. We'll finish this screw off. Then we'll go back to this one. And then the last one. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it back over, and I'm just going to check that these screws, there we go. Sometimes as you add parts it kind of loosens the screws or pulls the part in a little bit more. So whereas I did put those screws in as tight as I could, where it's pulled the parts in, it just means that we can put a bit more on there, which then means these might want a bit more. No, they're in lovely. There we go, I've got a bit more on that one, tiny bit on that one, and then that one. There we go, one lovely part. Right, so now we're going to fit the leaf spring holder. So we need to take the dual leaf spring holder piece 4, which I believe is this one, and that's going to go, now we're looking for this tab that points that way. Now those holes are in the wrong place, so it must be going on this side. So use any identification marks you can. And that's good. You've got 3 holes there, you've got 2 pegs and a screw hole. That's going to go in, I believe, like that. Check the next image. So this piece should be pointing towards the join. Okay, and then we'll fasten that with one single screw. Now I'm going to use a different screwdriver because, as you can see, there's a small gap in there. Now this one, I believe, isn't magnetized. I really need to magnetize this screw, you know. Actually, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to drop this screw into the part. There we go. There we go. Right. And we can bring the parts together. There we go. And once that's in enough, I can then let go, and then I can tighten that up. There we go, nice and easy. Okay, so next up we have part 95(3), and that wants to go to the left of it. So remember, these little notches are at the top. This is pointing to the right, so this one wants to go off to the left a little bit. Okay, and same as before, we'll get a screw. We'll just pop that in. I'm doing it like this simply because I don't have a magnetized screwdriver. I don't think this will fit in. We'll have a look. Yeah, it will fit. I'll just get it started with that screwdriver, and I can finish off with this one. I really just need to magnetize this screwdriver and everything will be fine. There we go. So make sure they're on nice and tight. That is not tight, so I don't think this will go. No. Right. Yeah, that's a really tough screw to screw in. That's done it. So that's nice and tight now. There's no movement there. So we have one last piece to go, which is this one, which is the rear leaf holder, and that's going to go in there. Doesn't seem to be any direction to it, so that can go in nice and easily with one screw. Hello, you. Okay, Okay, and this one I can use my normal screwdriver, my Webster screwdriver as I call it. Lovely. Okay, that's gone in absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the part that we made from last week and I'm going to put them side by side, and then I ask myself the question, do they look remotely the same? As you can see, we've got the flat end there, and yes, they do look similar. The only difference being is the way that the hinges go. You can see that they're different, but that should be yes. So as you can see that the hinges, the tabs there are both on the outside. So I do have a cat joining me now, so I'm just going to let her say hello, and then she can disappear. Good girl. Good girl. Right, so on to the next issue, which is issue 96. And I do apologise, I will be cutting the parts open on the table. So let's have a look at those. There's only 2 parts and a load of screws. Lots and lots of screws. So this is going to be a fun issue, isn't it? So this is the extension beam, chassis beam extensions. And we have got the left chassis beam for trailer part 3. And I think it's this one. And the reason I think it's this one is with this tab facing downwards, we get this sloping upwards, which then means with this one, and it's got an L on it. Yeah, that's got the R on it. So that is the... No! Okay, that's interesting. So the left... I think they might have these the wrong way round, because this L piece... Let me show you this, guys. So this has an L on it, and you can clearly see that L, and that has an R on it. Now if we orientate this so that the L is showing, it doesn't... Oh, it does. Yes, sorry, the way that the picture looks, it actually makes it look like that, but it is actually like that. So this is the left side with the L on it, and this is the right side with the R on it. And then we have 17 PM screws, which are 2.3 by 4 mil, exactly the same as the last issue. So I need to keep those safe. So a lot of screwing to do today. So the first stage then is we take the left beam assembly 96-1, which is this one, and we need to take the assembly from issue 94, which I believe is this one, and it has an L on it, and it should attach very similar to how we've done before. That's going in there, so I can just move these parts up, and you know what's coming next, guys. We need 4 screws in there. So I think I'm going to do this slightly differently now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the 4 screws in. First screw in there, just enough to bite. Then when we put the second one in, it's going to pull those parts together a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to put my third one in as normal. Lovely. Then I'm going to pop the 4th one in, but I'm only going to put the 4th one in just enough to bite, because we're screwing this from 2 different angles. So I'm going to stop there, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the next step, which is 4 screws there. And I'm going to do these ones as normal. So the first one, sorry for covering up the camera, the first 3 goes in just enough to bite. Second one in, and oh, the third one's not on the screwdriver properly. Okay, third one in, and then this last one will go in firmly all the way. And the cat's joining me again. And then third one. second one. And then the first one. But I will still check these again as I did before. So I'm now going to turn it over. I'm going to finish these screws off. And these are a lot looser than when I put them in. Some of these I stopped when there was a little bit of resistance. Okay, lovely. I'm going to go back to the first ones. These shouldn't need anything at all. Oh no, there's quite a lot still. There we go. Look at that, it's quite a lot on that one. Because as you pull the as you screw one side in, it kind of pulls the other one in as well. So just be aware of that, guys. Yeah, just a little bit to do. Lovely, perfect. And I don't know if you can see how long this is, guys, but this is getting quite lengthy now. Okay, so with that done, we now need to do the opposite side. So we need to do the right hand side, and that's going in like so, just as we did before. And oh, I'm getting arm ache now, guys. So first one in just enough to bite. Second one, so how many screws is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 16. Oh, 6. That's why they gave us 17, isn't it? There we go. Right, so they're all in just enough to bite. They're in. You see there's a little bit of movement. And I'm going to have to stop and get a mouthful of coffee. That's better. I've been getting over a cold stroke hay fever stroke flu stroke insert whatever you want here. I must have had a cold because my nose is so bunged up, but I don't remember having a cold, don't remember having the symptoms, but I must have had something. And top of my head I'm getting really severe headaches, and I've just got all this build up. And I put it down to complicated by dehydration because I don't drink enough, and the last couple of days I've been drinking like mad, and it's really actually started to clear my head. Right, so these two I'm now tightening up fully. I think they'll need some more when I do the other side. There we go. So then we'll finish the first 4 off. And I think when I show you these pieces, guys, I think I'm going to have to switch back to the front camera. Whew. I'm glad I split these between 2 videos. These 2 issues and the next 2, because I don't think I'd have the energy to do the next 2. So we really are getting our money's worth, aren't we? A lot of... Sorry guys, I really have got a sore hand today. There we go. Right, they're in. So go back to the first 4, and I think we will need a bit on these. Yeah, maybe about 3/4 of a turn. There we go. There we go, and then we'll just check the first, the other 4. Oh, they still need a little bit extra. They need quite a lot actually. That's surprising. Right. I think I'm going to check the other side as well. It seems that when I do one side, I can then get more on the other side. Unless they're springing out when I'm not looking. There we go. still going. That's interesting, that. Just the one screw. Right, there we go. I'm happy with that. Really happy with that. So, yeah, let's switch to front camera then. There we go, guys. So, what we have finished assembling, and let me check how we have seen all the... Yeah. So this is the completed work. So this is our trailer. So these are going to go together like that, and that's going to form our next side of our trailer. So issue 97, which is coming in the next video, will be chassis beams and crossbars, and you can see that we're going to attach all those together. Oh, really hard work on that build, guys. I don't mind admitting that. Yeah, guys, so really good issue actually. We've gone from that, I'm hiding that, to that in another issue, and then we've added on, trying to get the angles. So that's what we've got in 2 issues. So now we've got a really good idea of the final length of the vehicle. So that's it then, guys. I'll finish the video here. And what I'll do is in the next video, we'll build the next 2 stages, which should give us a rough idea of the length and what it'll look like. And then what I'll do is I'll bring the front cab out, the rough assembly, and we'll lay it on the table, and then we'll get a really good idea. So yeah, guys, that's it then. So again, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.